Hello there and welcome to the Card Grotto. Today I'm back with my next instalment of my Craft Favourites 2016, and today I'm going to be looking at ink pads and stamping accessories. I do just need to apologise for the lighting in this video. The British winter really is not doing me any favours, but hopefully you can still see. So first of all, this is the mini Misti. I really like this little tool. I do have the original Misti and I just found it a little bit too big, to be honest with you, and I wasn't really using it, so I decided to go ahead and invest in the mini Misti, and I'm really happy I did because I use it quite a bit. Really good for double stamping, especially when you're going to be stamping on something you know is not going to ink up that well. Or stamp down that well, I should say, like watercolour paper. A little bit of an investment, but I do think it's worth the money. Next up is some grids that I use with the Misti. So I've got a clear plastic grid and then also this grid here with the lines on that I use for lining up sentiments. I've got this from Simon Says Stamp. Really good just to make sure that you're stamping where you want to stamp, really. Inexpensive tools but really helpful. So next up is some normal acrylic blocks. I really like the Lawn Fawn ones because they're nice and round and they're really good to kind of hold on to. And then these are the Paper Mania blocks, and I really like them because they've got quite a lot of lines on them, so they're really good for sentiments. Next up is a stamp positioner. This is the Stampin' Up! Stamp-A-Majig one, but I believe quite a few different retailers sell them. I really like this for cling stamps or wood mounted stamps, and I do have a whole video on how you use a stamp positioner, and I will have that linked up in the top right hand corner. But just a really good tool, as I said, to use with mounted stamps. Next up, for cleaning, I really like the Tesco Value Baby Wipes. They're fragrance free and they have no alcohol in them, which is really good for your stamps. Like the alcohol's bad for your stamps, I should say, but these ones don't have alcohol in, so they're quite safe. And next up is the Absorber. This is like a chamois that you can use to wash your car with or dry your car after you've washed it, I suppose. And this is the mini version. I cannot believe how big it is. This is just half of it, and the other half I've already cut up and used. I just tend to cut pieces out of it, and then when I use a piece, I just have this, as you can see, this size here, and then I just run it under the water, and then once it's wet I just pop it in the ramekin, and then I leave it overnight to dry. I find that it just works nicer for me if I leave it to dry overnight. Next up, for another cleaner, this is the Hero Arts Ultra Clean, and then also the scrubber pad. Really helpful to have this scrubber pad with this cleaner, and so you can just mist it on the bottom, use your stamp and scrub away. At the top you can use this to dry. To be honest, I don't ever use that side. I just tend to clean it with a little baby wipe afterwards to get rid of any residue of the cleaner. But this piece here that you actually clean with, you can take that out and clean it and wash it under your sink or anything like that, which is really good for those kind of stubborn stains. So for ink pads, I really love the Memento Tuxedo Black ink pad. This is probably my most used ink pad of ever time, I should say. And yeah, I really like it, especially for Copic colouring. It doesn't smear when you use Copic markers, and I really love it for sentiments as well. Next up is the Versamark ink pad, another kind of staple. This is really good for embossing because it's a clear sticky ink and the embossing powder sticks really well to it, but it's also really good for using like a watermark, so you can just make the ink look darker, which is really nice as well. Next up is the Black Soot Archival ink. This actually doesn't come as a full ink pad. You have to buy an empty ink pad separately, and then you use a re-inker and then ink up your own ink pad, and then you can just get the labels off of the Ranger site, which I've just added to the top there. I really like this one because it's archival and waterproof, and the black is really nice dark black as well. And then last but not least are My Favourite Things dye inks. These have been around for quite a few years, but I haven't been able to get them in the UK before, and Seven Hills Crafts now sells them here in the UK, which is really good for anyone who lives in Europe. And they're just a really lovely ink. They stamp really solidly, and they have just really beautiful colours that match their cardstock as well, which is really nice. So that was a look at my favourite ink pads and stamping accessories for 2016. I hope you've enjoyed watching. Links to all the products will be down in the description bar on YouTube and also on my blog. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you